So here we are. This is a video for Curtis Hardy, trying to show him where he was at fault for the fact that this race ended for both of us when it shouldn't have really done. No hard feelings, Curtis Hardy. So let's go. So we're on lap 3. I've been following since lap 1. We're coming down the straightaway here, and I'm getting quite a good draft, and I go to make a pass to the left. Which, by the way, is quite a safe move. We're on a straight. There's no need for this type of behaviour, in my opinion, to occur. So before I move out, Curtis Hardy is in the middle, as you can see, or a little bit further over to the right. Now I know that there is a right-hand bend coming up, and one wants to be on the left-hand side. So as I make the move, Curtis Hardy obviously sees this and doesn't like it. Please note how far we are away from the turning point. That's the turning point. We are quite away, so there is still room for me to make that move. And he doesn't like it. He's already starting to come over to the right hand side, and he's now over to the right hand side, and I back out because he doesn't give me any room. As you can see, there is no room, so he's come really quite far over to the right. Well, I can't see any other reason other than fear of being overtaken. Starting, he's over here when I'm starting the move, and he clearly doesn't give me any room. So he doesn't like it, and as you can see, we are still quite away from the turning point. Anyway, I back out and just skip it on to the incident now. So out of this first corner to the left, I get a good run. Now the position of of Chris Hardy is well over to the right as I'm going to be making the move, and I'm sure that he can see that I'm making this move, and I'm gonna pass him. It's a totally safe pass. We are, let's see with the blimp where we are. We're just really not that far away out of the first corner. So he's seen that I'm making the move, and I'm coming over to the right, and he's holding that position. Starts to come into the centre a little bit more. So now, as you can see, that I am within passing place, and he is in centre, if not a tiny little bit over to the right. And as you can see here, I don't have too much of a problem with being close to people. When I can see it, I'm running a single monitor, and I'm pretty close there, and I've not touched him because I know where he is. I can see where he is, and I know where his line is. Anyway, just keep an eye on this distance. He's in the middle. So he's seen that I'm passing him. He's in the middle. He knows that I've got more speed than him, and he knows that I'm probably going to get to the corner before him. So there's no reason why he had to pull over to the left to cut my space up for when the braking zone comes in. It's a dangerous move, really. The fact is that I'm going to be passing him. And had he been over to the over to the right, or stayed in the middle as he was while I was making the pass, there wouldn't have been an accident. Now, as you can see, he's even a little bit further over to the right, giving me this room. But as we come up to the corner, he starts from here, the 200 mark, when we get to the 100 mark, to cut that up. Now, look at that space there for me. I have noticed this margin here of space, which is my line. Now, I'm currently ahead of him, and that is my line. So, what's he going to do? He's going to come over to the left, which now you can see he's over to the left considerably more than where I started the move. He was over about here. And yes, I do agree with him that I did make a move to the right. But as you can see, this is my line. And now we're head to head. We're neck and neck. This is my line. And yes, I do move over to the left a bit. But there's no problem with that, because in my mind, I have that space. So that when I come back, as you can see, this space was my original space. There you can see is that my original space. But because Curtis Hardy came over to the left, and there really is no need to come over to the left. When I come back to my allowed space, now he's behind me. I can't really see that he's changed while I'm in a single monitor, and even if I was on a third monitor, he's quite a bit behind me. So I'm within my line of racing, and he's come over to the left considerably more than when he was starting. So my twitch or come back up to the right, which he said that I've done, and it's true that I have done. I'm still within my my driving, and because I'm ahead of him, I haven't seen much that he's moved considerably over to the left. And there was no need to move over to the left, especially in a braking zone where it is the braking zone. He's basically made it so difficult for me to brake. I mean, if he's thinking that I'm turning in a little bit to the right, and that's without braking, how does he think that I'm going to achieve sufficiently hard enough braking for the turn and not move my line a little bit? He's made this dangerous, and all that shows to me, with going back to how it was on the straightaway, where I first showed you, where he cut over to the left as he saw me passing. The only thing that I can think of is that he's just not wanting me to pass, and he's made it very hard for me and caused an accident. And for him to say that he wasn't at fault, when he clearly is well over to the right there, and he pulls from being middle to a little bit over to the right. As you can see, he pulls right over to the left, being very close to me. And yes, as I say again, I did make a move to the right, but this is my space. From here to here, that's my space. And from him to there, that is his space. But what he does is he moves over to the left, and I don't see that. And he didn't need to do that. He didn't need to make my space so much smaller, especially when we're heading towards a turn and a braking area. He didn't need to do it. And in my opinion, he was at fault. As you can see here, he's over to the right, and he starts to come over to the left considerably. to the point where he's just not being friendly. And I know it's all about competition, but that is where the error is in my mind, not the fact that I moved maybe a foot over to the right. What was he thinking that it's crazy how much that caused both of us to crash. And ruined our races, all because he didn't want me to pass. That's how I see it. Well, even though he did say to me, "Look at TV1, you can see where you move." I know that I move. I know that I do move over to the right, but clearly, I have, when I'm making that passing move, a lot of space, and he just cuts up that space. As you can see here, he's over to the right a little bit there. So what happens is he cuts into my space, and I'm already ahead of him. And so that little twitch to the right is what's happened. I've not seen that he's cut up my space and made it very difficult and a very dangerous thing. So Curtis Hardy, I'm sorry that if came across as being rageful, but considering that the move that I tried to make on you here, you really weren't up for it, and you pretty much did the same thing in the other area. You saw me come in, and you didn't like it, so you cut me up and you gave me no space. So no hard feelings, Curtis. If you can't see what I'm showing you here, whereby in the passing move, you're saying to me that it's my fault because I moved over a foot over to the right, and you held your line. You didn't hold your line because your line is in the middle, if not a tiny little bit over to the right, maybe like half a foot over to the right, giving me this space on passing. But what do? You come over into my space, and then you blame me because I've moved half a foot or a foot over to the right that was within my space when I was passing you. And it wasn't necessary, and it ruined my race and it ruined your race. And the whole idea is that we could perhaps learn from it. And yeah, as far as I'm concerned, you just didn't want me to pass, and you weren't up for it, which, to my mind, is cowardly. If it was me in your position, I would have perhaps given more space because of the precarious passing move, or the passing of this corner while going too wide. And if this person made a pass on me, I would try to stay with him. And if it seemed that he was getting away from me, then he's obviously a bit of a faster driver, and there's no problem about that. But to make this safe passing, which is probably one of the only passing moves or safest passing moves in the whole course, other than this, the long straightaway coming down from the mountain, there was no need for you to cut up my space and then to blame me because I moved a tiny bit over to the right and touched you, in my opinion. And anyway, if you want to learn from it, this is a video to try and show you where perhaps you were at fault. And if you want to show me a video, which you didn't because you didn't say in the replay because you were adamant that it was my fault, then perhaps you will continue making errors and not progress as fast enough and ruin other people's races as well as your own because of of this type of behaviour. But anyway, perhaps when we race again, this won't happen. Anyway, whatever. All right.